What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 14 of the OPD podcast with your hosts, myself, Jeffery, and Austin Stout. Firstly, apologies. We did have an episode planned with Richard Foster from Strom. We did record it last night, but apparently Skype have blocked a load of their external recording, like third-party softwares, and it happened to Jasmine as well, who was recording with Eugene for Not Just a Bikini Girl, and yeah, basically lost the whole thing. The file was like corrupted, and I had to buy and license one because I was being a cheapskate and using a free one that I got off Google. So here we are back with a proper one, but unfortunately not with Richard tonight. Richard's interview is going to be tagged onto the next podcast next week. So this week you just got me and Austin, which is cool anyway, because we haven't done one of these, just me and Austin, for a long time. We also have no topic in mind, but we still wanted to get a podcast out to you guys weekly. So this is the first time we've ever just sat and bullshitted for an hour about whatever. So it could be great, it could be shit, but give you feedback and we'll just see what comes up. We're also going to talk a little bit about the value of mentorships in the coaching industry, which is something that we did speak about last night at the end of the episode with Richard. So we're going to put that in here as well. And just generally talk shit for an hour, and hopefully you guys enjoy it whilst you're doing your cardio or cooking your meals or whatever you're doing. Hey, wasn't that a Bodybuilding Nerds Radio quote, was it? So whenever you guys listen to podcasts. So yeah, Austin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well today. We had a bit of a debacle yesterday. I didn't lose. I told you though, I didn't lose my other episode, so which is good.
Yeah,
we have the recorder we use is paid though, so
there you go.
Maybe that's the difference. Yeah, I don't know.
That's you buy cheap, you buy twice. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Well, he didn't even buy it.
I get it.
Download free shit once, buy twice. But yeah, we got a proper one now. Sorry, I'm so tired. It's pretty late here. We got to record late because Austin's 5 hours behind me, and I've had some long day. And today is my day off the gym. So, as you know, Austin, fasting all day, and I'm just a bit. You know when you do a long fast and then you eat a meal, and it just writes you off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's me right now. Yeah, I've just eaten before we got on the podcast, and it's just. Yeah, I'm ready for bed now.
I know it's a tricky thing too, because if you don't do a full day fast, like you just had one meal, go to bed. But if you do like a partial day fast, it's long enough to where you eat in the afternoon and it just makes you hungry as fuck the rest of the day.
Yeah. No, I save it for right before bed.
Right, which is easier.
Yeah, because it puts me to bed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a lot easier to do it that way.
But I've been at I spent half the day at a spa today for mine and Jasmines 2-year anniversary. If you're listening, babe, happy anniversary. Blah. So yeah, we went and did that, which was pretty cool because her dad actually bought us that for Christmas. So instead of buying each other any anniversary gifts, we just used that and didn't spend any money at all, which is sound. Got some deep tissue done on my back, which. Like, I didn't have high expectations going in because it was like one of them posh spas and the therapists are like young, skinny girls. And I've had quite a few deep tissues and been disappointed. But this one, I'm telling you, like, she had her elbows, like she had her knee up on the whatever you call it, the bed, with her elbow dug into my trap. Ooh, but really, hit the spot. It was good.
Yeah, there's a new place close to my house, just somebody's private office where they have 2 therapists in there, and they don't specialize in, sports massage or athlete massage, but they do deep tissue. So I figured I would try it just because they were so close, and and their rates were good. So I figured if I liked it, it would be a good, it would be a good alternative if I couldn't get to anyone else. But I was actually impressed. She did a really good job. And that's just because I think too, if therapists are good at insertions and origins of the muscles
Mm,
and stuff. And because I can go in and tell her exactly what needs done, and if she knows what the hell she's doing, then she can do it. But yeah, she was good, and I mean, Jerica and I went and had it done. She kicked my ass, so it's always good.
mm. Have you and Marty put out the episode on recovery modalities yet? Public.
Uh, no, I don't think so. I'm trying not to get them all mixed up because we have so many.
So I
I
won't I
don't
won't
think,
give anything away. But like something you said in there is like when people equate a good deep tissue to coming away like absolutely toasted and with bruising, and
oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's not really what you want to be looking for.
right. Yeah, we talked about that. Um, yeah, and then we talked about some different recovery.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome, that one. In fact, I really like all of them. Anybody listening, have a listen to.
Thought the,
Sorry, I lost you there.
I was gonna say, I actually thought the refeed episode was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the refeed one. The training one was good as well. In fact, no, they've all been really good. In fact, I think one that's going to be really useful to people is just how to be a good client.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. So you've listened to that one.
Yes, yeah, I listened to that on a long drive last week to Wales. That wasn't a Welsh accent for anybody listening. I'm not even going to attempt that. Yeah, I think they're really, really good. I love the dynamic of you and Marty. Like Marty makes me laugh so much. I
Yeah,
think you're
Marty's a
quite a dry character like me, but it's funny when Marty makes you laugh. Like, do you know what I mean?
yeah, right. Yeah. It works. It works good. It's a better dynamic than you know who.
Yeah,
So oh
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah. Just about
But
anything is. Yeah, just about anything's better than listening to somebody just talk about how great they are for hours. But anyway, um, how's the fat loss phase going? I think that's what people want to know. A lot of people ask in the group about what you're doing diet wise, and I know you like to keep it hush hush, but just how's it going? Any details you can let on?
I know I don't say anything. It just I know it probably
Exactly.
probably.
That's what that's your sales tactic because people think you know something I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know about that, maybe, but I can't tell people. But yeah, I mean, it's going good. I think this week has been more productive so far. I did a little reset last weekend, little extended refeed, and it was needed. Now I can tell that my body's responding a little bit more this week.
Hmm.
So, um, really, my goal at this point is to I'll get pretty aggressive going forward until we come over there for the seminar, and then I'll probably use that week or those like 3 to 4 days as a reset.
Hmm.
Um, and then that should put me like 8 to 9 weeks out from some shows that I'm, like my show time frame. So that's kind of what I'm looking at because I want to try to compete in June, hopefully in June or the very beginning of July. I don't want to go any further than that because I have other trips and shit that I have to do. And then, like I said, I really don't care if I prep away from home. I've done it, but it's like going to Europe and 14, 15-hour flights going to fuck me all up with
Yeah.
water retention, inflammation, and everything. So I'm not really looking to try to have to combat that and compete 2 weeks after or something. But
Hmm. Yeah, but you're really like condition wise, you're really far ahead already from what I can tell.
yeah, I would say, I mean, like as far as weeks out, I'm ahead, I would say for sure. But I'm also I also know if I just kept going in a linear fashion right from here, I would be too low calorie. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have enough real estate to keep going because I'm already pushing it kind of, relatively good. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm gonna have to break it somewhere. And I kind of figured if I broke it up, if I took the little diet break or whatever you want to call it, right around that seminar, that would be perfect. So that's really the plan. I mean, I would imagine right now my training day calories are at about 2,200.
Mm.
And my non-training days I vary right now. So I'll either do, depending on how I look and feel, I'll do 2,000, which isn't really that much of a reduction from the training. Or if I do a fast day, I only do about 1,750, which that's pretty, I mean, that's relatively low. I mean, so,
It's not very low for you, though, is it? I've seen you get some really low,
oh,
but you keep
yeah,
things quite cyclical as well, don't you? With larger refills.
right. Yeah. I mean, 1,750 is low for sure for somebody, somebody with that much lean body mass, but only doing it a couple days a week is not, you know what I mean? It's not like it's every day. So, then cardio is, I'm doing HIT on my non-training days. So I do HIT 3 times a week.
Mm.
And right now the HIT sessions are only 3 intervals. So they're really short, but I'm able to, like I'm really hitting them extremely hard right now. So I get through those and then I do, steady state daily training days. Steady state ends up being about 30 minutes and it's about 40 minutes on non-training days. So, I mean, it's not like I realistically know what I'll have to do to get fully peeled. I mean, I know that for me, realistically, I'm somebody that has to do a lot of cardio. There's just no way, there's no way around it. I mean, because you can't take my calories any lower and you can't really, like, I mean, I've prepped multiple different ways. I prepped by myself. I prepped with, I prepped with Jason Theobald in the past, and I always pretty much end up like right there. I pretty much end up with anywhere from 1,300 to 1,600 calories and two cardio sessions a day at least. I mean, that's just kind of inevitable. But now when my gym's gone, though, that'll make the cardio thing will be a little bit easier to do. So that'll be nice. I have a bike at home, a stationary bike, so I do all my shit on that. My poor ass is completely numb and bruised by the end of a prep because of that fucking seat on the bike.
Do you watch Netflix or something?
I tried, you know what? I can't do it, man. I try to watch Netflix and stuff, but I feel like I will watch some stuff sometimes if it's entertaining enough to occupy me, but normally it's not occupying enough to get me through the cardio. I just sit there and fucking get distracted and count time. So I'll normally watch like little short videos on my phone, or I'll play a game on my phone, or I'll answer emails if I have emails. Mm-hmm. And actually, one of my favorite things to do, probably if I do evening cardio, is if Jericho's home, I'll talk to Jericho. I can kill a 30-minute or 40-minute session super easy. I feel like, I don't know,
well, that's good, man, because most people are trying to get away from talking to their missus by doing this. So
no, I tell her to come into the living room, because I set it up back in the back corner of our main room that has our TV and all that, and I tell her to come in and talk to me so we can talk for 40 minutes. And
that's pretty interesting. Is it the same when you're actually training? Could you talk to your missus?
Yeah, we train together. The training thing is on and off. Like, I kind of leave that up to her if she wants to train with me, because I like training with her. She's serious. She takes her training in a way that I can train with her. It's not like she doesn't dilly-dally when she's in there. So, I can, but she doesn't always want to train with me. That's the thing, because I'll correct her form and shit all the time. So.
Yeah. I know that. Yeah.
So, I mean, the training thing is kind of hit or miss, but the cardio thing is, strangely enough, I don't know. I feel like that's good for anyone in prep. Anything that you can distract yourself with is ideal. You know what I mean? The last thing I want to do is nothing and be bored. I mean, so I'm always busy anyhow, so I'm never fucking bored. So, I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that, because the last fat loss phase I was on, I rode my stationary bike that I've got at home, and I played Skyrim on the Xbox at the same time. And like, because the game is so expansive and in depth and basically non-completable as an MMO, I just got so into it, and you wouldn't even know that half an hour has just passed. But this time round, this fat loss phase, I've actually been walking with Jazz. We've moved house since, and we live near like a new marina with a long canal. So we've literally been walking. And I much prefer that, to be honest, than sitting in the room playing Skyrim.
Yeah, we depending on what Jarek is doing, she has, like, through part of my last prep, she was actually doing a little bit of a fat loss phase too. So she was doing some cardio. It wasn't as obviously as much as me, but when she did cardio, we did it together. That way we could walk. And then I've actually been wanting to get an Xbox or PlayStation 4 or something because I know I used to do that in cardio sessions. I could kill an hour pretty easy.
I'm not joking you now. If you bring a bag with enough space, I'll give you an Xbox 360 when you come over.
Why are you going to give it to me?
Because I don't use it. I haven't even, it's covered in dust. I haven't looked at it for over a year.
I mean, I don't know that I probably wouldn't even use it other than in prep, just because I don't have time to sit there and, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have time to sit there.
That was the only time I ever used it, and I don't think I'd do that again.
Yeah, I don't know. I would try it.
If you want it, it's yours. Got some games.
Okay.
Got Skyrim.
Jericho would play it. That's the thing, is she would actually play it.
Yeah.
She's
if you want it.
If you guys will, she's actually kind of she's fun to be around. You guys will enjoy. She's basically like a little kid in an adult body.
Get on with Jazz then. No offense, Jazz, if you're listening.
Like her favorite thing is I'm actually trying to plan a trip to Disney World. Like that's like on her bucket list. She's so into Disney. She has Disney character tattoos, and our bedroom,
awesome.
You'll laugh at this. Our bedroom, she's decorating it as a Disney princess room.
That's pretty cool though, man. I love stuff like that. I'm going to admit now, I really, really, really like Disney movies. Like, really like Disney movies. And
yeah,
I love all that stuff, man.
They've grown on me more. I mean, I like them. I like some of the comedies and stuff that they have, but they've actually grown on me more. And being on her, and she, yeah, I mean, she obviously does everything an adult does, but she just, that's just her thing. She loves animals and she loves Disney, and that, which is good for me, because I'm like Mr. Super fucking serious.
Sounds like me and Jazz here.
Yeah. I'm a goof. I mean, I have a good sense of humor too, but mostly our humor consists of talking shit about other people.
You sound English. Yeah.
That is our humor. And it's funny because I own in the gym now. It's like I was inside forever, basically coaching and stuff, and I just forgot how ignorant the general population is.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't even, I don't know how I could be around people on a daily basis. I mean, it's not, I don't know, man. It's some of the shit people have said to me now that we're closing, because I tried to do the right thing with the gym closing, and I gave people a notice. You know what I mean? I didn't want them to just show up and the doors be closed. So I gave them a month's notice, and I had a guy walk in today, and he said, "I heard you guys are closing." And I said, "Yeah, April 2nd, we're closing." He's like, "Man, I've really been looking at this place to come get a membership." I'm like, "Well, thanks, fucker. You and all your friends that wanted a membership could have kept this open, you dick." Like, why did you think before you speak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well.
Man, that's the life of a online coach. So sit in your house away from other people, right? So you don't have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Yep,
it's a good point you make about doing things with like your significant other on prep or in a diet or fat loss phase or whatever you're doing, because it's like, it's pretty easy and it's a pretty common thing for people to say. Like, I mean, I cringe when I see it all the time. You always see that, like, or I guarantee you've had a client say this, right? Because how many clients have I heard say this where it's like, our relationship's going a bit rocky, but fuck it, man, I'll sort that out after the show or something. And you think, what?
Yeah. Well, no, it's ridiculous. It's like, and that's another thing, you know, it's the same people that if you tell them, and Marty and I talked about this, I don't know if you've heard that episode yet, probably not, but we talked about it. It's people, they know they're in prep, so their mindset automatically flips when in reality, nothing fucking changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's stupid. I hear it from clients all the time about their relationship. They say exactly what you just said, or something, you know, something similar. And if anything, I try to keep my life and relationships as normal and routine as humanly possible, because I don't want to sit there and feel fucking sorry for myself. You know what I mean? Like people do.
No, and well, yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Like, it's just such a ridiculous thing. Like, people say it as if it's to be saluted, like, but it's actually such a sign of weakness. Like, you're basically saying, like, the people that I love and care about can wait because I'm bodybuilding, you know? Like, what?
It's ridiculous. It's like, I always say this too. It's like, what really changes when you start a prep? The only two things that change are you eat a different amount of calories and you might start doing cardio. That's it.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
And even in like the deepest, darkest phases of a prep, you're not going to be like a write-off. Yeah, given you're tired, whatnot, and you might mentally not be there, but it doesn't mean that you can be a dick.
Well, yeah, and let's be honest. I mean, once you get to the ending of prep, you had 16, 20, 24 weeks or whatever leading up to that. So it's not like you don't just flip a switch one day and automatically you're eating sub 2,000 calories and doing 2 hours of cardio. Like, that's not, you know what I mean? So, and in prep, you don't really, if you don't think about it, you slowly adapt your lifestyle every day, like little bits it's real subtle stuff, because it's so small and the changes are so infrequent. You know, maybe you make changes, you might have a change once a week or every other week, or on a fast week, you might have 2 changes a week. But in reality, you are just slowly adapting your prep. Like, you slowly adapt your sleep schedule a little bit. You slowly adapt your gym schedule a little bit. You slowly adapt your, whatever you do with your significant other a little bit. There's absolutely no reason that your life should really change that much. And if it does have to change that much, that means you are a pretty shitty, like, unroutine bodybuilder to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The easiest way to have a smooth prep is to have a smooth off season.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 100% agree.
So,
it just takes a bit of personal effort as well. Just checking yourself sometimes, thinking, I'm being a dick. You know, because not many people are gonna put up with somebody living such a rigid, like, life under so much scrutiny as like a physique athlete. So if you've got somebody that actually does, even during an off-season situation, then appreciate it and just don't be an arsehole when the time comes.
yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, I made it sound a little more pleasant than it is. I mean, I've been, done enough preps, enough really hard preps that I could tell you, there's times where it's like, I need to really push myself to even bathe on a regular basis. Like, but you know what? It's my choice. I would absolutely never let it affect my relationship. No way.
Oh, good point there. It's my choice. I think that's what people forget, that, they are doing it to themselves. I can't help but cringe when people say, like, I'm going to war, or digging deep, all of that motivational stuff. It's, at the end of the day, it's like, we're not going to war. Like, you're not going to war. Like, training is not going to war. Like, there's not the same. And like the word sacrifice as well. Like, this is not a sacrifice. Like, because you are choosing to just eat less and do more activity or whatever you may be doing. Like, that's not a sacrifice when you map it up to the sacrifices some people make. I just think that's like an incredibly entitled thing to say for the most part.
Yeah, I don't. I've actually had discussions with people, or I guess an argument, I guess you could call them, about that word, because I don't really think that's the right word. Because I mean, if you're doing something that you want to do, you're not sacrificing anything.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's a sacrifice. That's not what a sacrifice is.
No.
So
It's just blown out of proportion as well in like the bodybuilding world. Like, even when you look at supplements, everything has to be like something crazy, like animal or like some kind of hardcore. Like, what was that pre-workout we were talking about last night? Something like lunatic asylum or something. You know?
no, it was edge of insanity.
Edge of insanity. So why do things like, why would you want to be on the edge of insanity? Like, you know, why does everything have to be such like hyperbolic nonsense in the bodybuilding world?
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't know. I have mixed thoughts on it. I mean, I think there's a time and a place for certain things, but if you notice, a lot of people that are really intense when they train and stuff are actually really calm outside of that. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not like putting down intense trainers or people that are super dedicated and put 100% effort into this, because like no doubt it's hard. And I often wonder about that, like how overstimulated somebody gets in training and how beneficial it is, because I'm somebody like that, that's super focused trainer that likes to train with a lot of intensity. Like, I often wonder what the returns are on that. And in fact, I was listening to a really good podcast today. I don't know if you saw, I shared it in OPD. I think the podcast was called like The Muscle Engineer. And it was with,
Okay.
they were talking to Dr. Scott, who, by the way, is on in 3 weeks' time, everybody. And we're talking inter-individual responses to anabolic steroid use.
That's gonna be
It's going to be so cool, man. I can't wait to hear Dr. Scott talk on that. But they, on this podcast, like, they were talking about the relationship between like tension, so like intensity or load whilst training, versus volume as a means of progressive overload. So we know that progressive overload is required to some degree to stimulate hypertrophy for the most part, or at least it's probably the most important thing. And they were talking about the argument between, if you're only capable of doing 8 sets initially, should you try and increase that to 16 sets, or should you try and increase the load over 8 sets? So either a tensile overload or a volume overload, you know? And Scott went into something really interesting that was basically digging into like the specific persona of the person that might suit what overload strategy they use. Like, if they're somebody that likes to train and sort of like just get nasty and train with a ton of intensity, like I am, I really enjoy that. I don't enjoy doing tons of volume and drawn out sessions. Then your total set number or volume via effective number of sets is going to be lower. But if you're somebody that can't necessarily reach that pain threshold and can't necessarily reach that level of intensity for whatever reason, then you can look at increasing sets, which I thought was pretty cool. And they went into really cool stuff like individual personalities and like pain barriers and different levels of pain tolerability, and some research on that and stuff. Like, because Austin, I guarantee that you've seen this from clients as well, because I do loads with footage with clients for execution work, for training, and I'll say, okay, I want to see one of your AMRAP sets, yeah, so I want to see a set to concentric failure, and you'll get one from a client and it'll be like balls out concentric failure. Like, they could not, no matter what, if they had a gun to their head, have done another rep, and then another client, you'll see it and you'll be like, what the fuck was that? Like,
Right.
it's really interesting, like, the array of responses, because I film myself training all the time and look back on it. So say I've got an RPE 9 to do, I'll always watch it and be like, oh, that wasn't RPE 9, that was easily failure. Why did I think I had another rep in there? Because the last rep took about 20 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. I don't think that, I try not to get on people either, because I don't think that until you've actually done a proper RP of 10, that people just don't realize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if they send me video, I try not to, my goal is not to belittle them and tell them they're not training intensely, but my goal is to,
Yeah, but you can
just
use
kind
that
of
as feedback, can't you? So you can say, okay, that person probably has a generally lower, like, perceived intensity, so I could probably run their volume a little bit higher for a greater return, you know?
That's it. Yeah, that way. And I do exactly that. There's people that I'll run slightly higher RPEs, or I'll run slightly higher volume than I normally would, than I would in a perfect world. And the only reason I do that is because I know that everything they do is about 75% of what I actually have on the paper.
Yeah. Yeah, a really good case for, like, monitoring your training, I think, as well, and not falling into the trap of, like, any kind of pre-written programming as such. Like, I think Fortune training does it well. That's the only piece of pre-programmed sort of training that I like, because of the volume tiers, you can sort of manage your progress and your overreaching with a volume tier. If you're one of those people that has a low sort of perceived intensity, you can just use one of the higher volume tiers, and, you know, vice versa.
Yeah, and that's really only something you can learn over time. I mean, if somebody looked at, easy way to tell too is if you throw a program at somebody. If I took two people that had similar body mass, similar recovery abilities, even, you know, that they actually had a similar recovery ability as a whole, about the same size, their diets were similar, they're still going to have a different result from the training, because, I mean, obviously genetic factors, but that's because their intensity is going to vary. It's always going to vary. I mean, I've trained with so many people at this point that it varies. The amount of variance is so extreme sometimes. It's like, I've had people that have come to train with me that they'll hit like a 50-pound PR in the workout, you know, because they just didn't know. Like, they've either never tried to go, you know, push any harder, or not even a 50-pound PR. Maybe they hit like a 10, they double their reps, you know what I mean? A weight that they squatted for 10, well, they do it for 20 while they're with me. You know what I mean? So that's always, it's always interesting to see. And that's only something that that's something that you can really only figure out with time. So that was actually something we talked about on the newest Mind Body episode. So we'll see. That one won't come out for a while, but we talked about individuality of training systems and stuff, and why set training programs on paper, like buying them, you know what I mean, is kind of a joke.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that. I'm sure you'll like that one.
I think people just aren't. I think a lot of people aren't great at monitoring their own biofeedback from training either. I think that's something that requires a lot of practice. Like, I mean, I guarantee you've seen it in consults with new clients where they'll say, you know, you'll ask them about their training, they'll say, well, I do 4 exercises of, you know, for chest and maybe a few sets, and I might do a few drop sets. It's never like, you know, much to go off as a coach initially. So it's always about where you take it from there. You know, there's not much you can do with that information. Like, yeah, I'll train everything twice per week with like 3 sets per body part or whatever, you know. What can you really do with that? It doesn't seem, and even when you try to dig further, the feedback generally isn't that solid. Like, they can't give any numbers or relative intensity most of the time, in my experience. It takes like somebody else's eye which again is a good case for a coach to be able to really track their own feedback from training for most people, I think. Especially when it comes to like execution. I think most people just train and don't actually think about maximally recruiting the target muscle fibers.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I would tend to agree. And it's as far as the recruitment goes, I mean, I think you obviously get better over time. And I've been able to, I would say I've been able to push load a lot more as recruitment got better. And the reason being is because I can hold that tension in a little bit with a little bit better loads. It's like, if you see a good example is let's see somebody that, and I'm not suggesting this, but somebody that trains like, what's an extreme example? Branch Warren, you know? Yeah. He, I mean, I guarantee that he still had a ton of tension, even though the form looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%. His neurological connection was just there. You know, people can bag on his training, but when you watch carefully, I think with Branch, like, you can see the activation. You know, he's, I think, is just like a genetic specimen. He was so, like, neurologically innovated.
That's it. That's it. And his neural connection was incredible. I mean, Ronnie Coleman's probably another one. Granted, he had a lot of joint issues in the long run, but I mean, I'd be willing to bet that there was still a ton of tension. Like you said, if you really watch carefully, you can see the fibers and you can see contractions and stuff. So
compare the relative like volume of Ronnie, who was hitting everything twice per week, 6 days a week, to somebody like Mike Mensa. Like, what a ridiculous difference in total volume per week, but still both had incredible physiques. It's almost a bizarre discrepancy between people, you know?
You're right. Yeah, that is. That's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway, I suppose we should get on to mentorships in the coaching industry.
Yeah. Let's do it.
So yeah, guys, we wanted to talk a little bit about mentorships because it's something me and Austin both do. I've got a small group of guys that work with me on a mentorship basis. So wanted to break down what they were, what you can get from them, and just general stuff like that. So, I mean, I could start off with what I do with my mentors. So, with my mentorees, I guess, is the lads that I mentor. So, they all want to be a coach at some point. A few of them have some academic qualifications. 2 of them don't. I've got 5 lads. So 3 of them have come out of uni and are in England. 1 is in Australia and 1 is in Ireland. The one in Australia and the one in Ireland don't have any qualifications, but they're both currently working as personal trainers in gyms and they want to move to online. So what this is more about gathering up relative experience through watching what another coach does and learning from that coach in terms of the business side of things, the anecdotal side of things, the experience of working with lots of different clients kind of things. So the kind of things that you're not going to be able to learn in a degree or a master's or any kind of education. It's more of the individuality side of coaching, but I do include a lot of research-based stuff in there. And I do a lot of Skype seminars. Well, I say a lot. Once per week, I sit down with my group on Skype and go over a topic, and I also set all of the guys little mini assignments to do with imaginary clients. So I'll say, client X, blah, 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 having this issue with training because of this injury maybe, or whatever it may be, diet-wise, and then I'll ask them to rewrite whatever it is or make the adjustment, tell me exactly why, and then we'll run through why I agree or disagree with what they did, and it generally follows that trend down a line of a client. And they're also in touch with some of my clients that work alongside my mentorees, and they watch the adjustments that I make with them, and they ask me questions like, why did you do this, why didn't you do this, or why is this happening, or I would have done this, did you think of this, blah blah blah. And there's just a lot of feedback. So yeah, in a nutshell, just trying to give these guys what a academic education wouldn't, and give them a sort of jump forward and save themselves a lot of time and effort of going through those maybe negative experiences themselves that every coach inevitably goes through with clients, of just having to learn the ropes through your own mistakes is part of it, but possibly saving themselves getting bit in the ass in the long run, and definitely saving a shitload of time in the long run by being able to see these things firsthand without having to deal with it themselves and learn it off their own back, you know? So is there anything to that you'd add, Austin?
No, the time piece is a big one. You're paying, not only are you paying for the direction, but you're also you're basically paying to expedite the process also.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna gain twice the knowledge and twice the experience in half the time versus, because that's something we talked about yesterday when we attempted to record, was just like, I use myself as an example because I didn't really have, like, I'm sure if I would have probably looked in the right place, there might have been mentorships available, but it wasn't really, like, we didn't really have the network of people that we have now. And so the process was a lot slower because it was basically self-teaching, and then all the trial and error was completely on the coach. There wasn't really a way to speed up that process like we have now with mentorships. And the other thing was just the fact that this industry is really saturated. So I think that if you are a brand new person in this industry, like, you have to have something to offer. You have to be good. I mean, you legitimately have to be good at your job, because this isn't kind of a hokey pokey thing anymore. It kind of, like, there was some people that got in and they made some money and they kind of faded. And I mean, there's still people doing that now, but it's a lot less because people are a lot more selective of who they work with. The clients they're not all educated, but in general, clientele is more educated and they're making more careful choices on their coaching and stuff. So you have to be a legitimate, this is a legitimate business, and you have to be ready to put in legitimate time and have a legitimate resume and everything. So yeah, it's serious stuff.
Yeah. I think another big benefit as well that I forgot to mention is networking in general. So being able to sort of fast track your way to almost being able to associate with people that maybe you wouldn't get to associate with before.
Sure.
Because I know I put my mentorees, I don't know what fucking word I'm even looking for here. The lads that I mentor, I say lads, one of them's older than me. Maybe they get, in fact, a really good example is one of your lads, Ben, because I see through being mentored from you, he got connected to me, and he's connected to Marty, and lads like Ben Stevens, and all of these other lads that we've got in OPD. I see him all over the place now, and people know who he is because he knows he's one of your lads,
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I didn't. Yeah, you're right. You are totally right. There's that, I hate to say it, but there's that whole acceptance piece. We still have that, kind of idea in the industry that there's still a large group of people that if you haven't been around for X amount of time, or you're not a certain age, or you don't look a certain way or whatever, then they really test you. You have to earn you have to kind of earn that rite of passage, which I think that's kind of, I get that to an extent. I think some people are just ignorant with it, and they're just assholes and they're bitter. Yeah. But you know what I mean? But in general, like, I get it. I get it to an extent. So to be able to associate with people like that, it definitely doesn't hurt your cause.
No, because inevitably, as like a new coach, you're going to be hungry to like ask people that are making a living off of this, like a lot of questions about things. And like, I don't know about you, Austin, but I will make my best effort to answer everyone's question on social media to a degree, but there's only so far you can go before it's taking time out of your working day and you have to say to that person, you know, sorry, I'm happy to answer questions, but these are a little bit too specific and in-depth and contextual. But if you're on a mentorship with a coach, you know, my guys, I mean, they vary. Some of my guys email me every day, lists and lists of questions, which is great. And I sit down and I put the time and effort into answering them in as much detail as humanly possible. And they take that to their clients and utilize it. And that's just not something that you're going to be able to get on a forum or just from dropping a personal message to someone on social media anymore. Because like you say, the industry is so crazy busy. There's no way that the people in the position of, I don't want to use the word authority, but people that are doing what you want to do, are going to be able to answer that. And that's the key to business success, is associating with people that are already where you want to be. You know, never run with people that are running slower or even the same speed as you. Only run with people that are sprinting twice as fast as you. You know, that's how to eventually sprint at the same speed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's actually something I think about a lot, and I'm probably too hard on myself, but I'm always I don't know how to phrase it. I see people doing a lot of good things, and don't get me wrong, social media might portray people a little more successful than they are. Like, I'm sure there's some of them are extremely successful, and other ones they probably just make themselves sound more important than they are.
Oh yeah.
But I'm always looking at people and the things that people are doing within the industry and how it's evolving and stuff. I'm like, man, I can't ever get complacent. I have to stay on my game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, how many different streams of income are there now? I mean, there was coaching with a few people. Now we've got the podcast, like we're sitting on now, seminars, YouTube is a big one, groups, you know, Instagram in itself is a business now. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing for people that want to build long-term business. Like, you need to have multiple streams of income. You have to, and some. So
yeah, and that's where saving time is going to come in. You know, learning from somebody. I mean, I'm not just talking about me and Austin here. Like, guys, please don't hear this as a sales pitch. But any coach that you follow, you really look up to, and you follow for a long time, you admire, and you want to be in their position, not necessarily be them, but maybe be like them in some ways, then definitely reach out and see if they offer mentorship. And don't be afraid to pay what it's really worth for a mentorship as well, because you've got to consider how much time the coach is putting aside. I think a lot of people think a mentorship is going to cost as much as coaching does. And another thing that you mentioned last night, Austin, coaching and mentoring, there's a line drawn between them. A lot of people will sign up for coaching with the hope of being able to ask the coach millions of contextual questions about things not relating to their own progress. And I'm not saying that a coach shouldn't answer questions, because they absolutely should. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't question your coach. Maybe not question your coach, but asking questions and being like, I always like to make sure if I make any adjustment with my clients' protocols, I'll always say, like, because I believe this, or because of this, and maybe attach some research or an anecdote with another client or something. But it's crossing the line if a client says something like, could you just help me with this with one of my clients' programs, you know?
Yeah, see, that's the same thing I do, because if I make changes to the plan, if it's anything out of the ordinary, out of just, you know, if I'm just changing the macros, it's real simple changes, then okay. But if I'm making anything that's a little bit different than the norm, I'll always let them know what my intention is.
Yeah.
With the change. But beyond that, there's really no reason to go past that point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's really no reason to discuss further. If they have a follow-up question about it, just to fully understand, that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But it's not necessarily the coach's goal to email back and forth all day and explain every mechanism and and necessarily put it in context for every different type of person. That's a mentorship. That's not you know what I mean? that's that's consulting. I mean, I do that too. That's another thing that I do with people. I'm not trying to sell services, but some people don't necessarily want to do like a mentorship, a full mentorship like that. Maybe they just have a lot of questions. Find a good coach, somebody that you trust, that be good at answering questions, and see if they'll just do a one-time consultation with you. Maybe it's a Skype consultation, maybe it's just email. Sometimes people have a shitload of questions, and I'll literally say, okay, one-time fee, I want you to send me all 25 of your questions or whatever in an email, in a list, bullet point it for me, and I'll answer every single one of them.
Yeah, no, it works really well. I advertise that on my website, and I'm surprised how many people actually go for that. You'll probably say the same.
Well, I think it's a good service, because it's like I said, some people don't necessarily want that full on mentorship. They've maybe been coaching for a while. They just have contextual questions, the ones that we were talking about. And yeah, I mean, that's a super easy way, and it's not, and we can go through, I mean, we know what we're doing. We can go through and copy and paste all the questions back into an email and answer it. And it's a win-win for both people.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, man. I'm trying to think of any other things that's worth it in a mentorship, but yeah, anybody listening that's interested, just please see it as an investment. It is like an investment into education. I think people run away from things that just necessarily cost money, but it's absolutely, if you do want to be a coach in the long run, you're going to be saving yourself a lot of time and effort by doing this with someone that has a ton of experience that you want, and you're not going to have to go and get it yourself at the end of the day. And you'll learn a shit ton along the way as well. God, when I think about some of the things that I've gone through with clients, and also, this is a little bit esoteric, but what I find really helps the guys that I mentor is just being in a group with each other and being on the same level as someone else. Because, I mean, when I started coaching, I didn't know anyone else personally that did it. And it was just like my own endeavor. No one in my family understood it, or anything like that. And I think there's a lot of motivation in being around people that are hungry for the same goal that you are. It fans your flames, so to speak. So if a coach has like a mentoring group that they do seminars with, like I do, every Friday, 10 a.m., I sit down and I have a whiteboard planned out, and I crank through loads of stuff with clients, and we'll even just sit and discuss like a round table for an hour afterwards. And it really lights a fire. Like, it lights a fire in me as well, to be honest, to see people so young and like new to the industry, but so hungry to learn and do more, which is great when you see old coaches that are kind of complacent in a lot of ways, and, like we were talking about. But, yeah, I think that's a really awesome benefit as well. I mean, the benefits are literally multifactorial here. So if you're looking to get into coaching, yeah, absolutely consider it. Absolutely.
I would agree. I don't have much to really add to that. I think that sums it up. If you guys are interested, Joe and I both offer these lovely services. So reach out.
It's time for a shameless plug. Drop me an email.
Hey,
or Austin.
That's okay though. Like, this is our podcast. We can plug whenever we want.
Hey, do you know what I've never done on this podcast? Shout out to the sponsor, Mediform. Your a sight enhancement product.
Yeah, Sam. I was actually talking to him the other day. He have you ever talked to Sam about business stuff?
Here and there, because I do Mediform UK and Europe, so we do a lot of business together.
Yeah.
What stuff are you talking about?
No, just business in general, just like trends he notices with who buys the products and.
Yeah, we talk about all of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I see who buys the product over here. I see.
Right. Yeah. Obviously.
And yeah, I see who buys a product, and there's some big names. That's all I'm gonna say. I often I often go.
I know.
Shit, am I sending this out to this?
Yeah. Yeah, he tells me who buys it, but we've talked a lot more recently because of obvious events in the
Yeah.
that have happened recently. But yeah, Sam's a good guy.
Yeah, Sam, if you're listening, man, absolute legend, and thank you for everything you've done for me and Jasmine. Honestly, Sam has gifted us so many times with so many things for nothing. I mean, yeah, he's got a big heart.
He says the same thing about you though, that he appreciates the help. So
Hey man, it's my pleasure. The thing is, I only got into it because I wanted to help out guys in the UK because I know that a lot of guys were paying. Like, if anybody's wondering, that's listening, what my involvement with Metaform is, like, when Metaform like started to sell, like, I mean, it's been around for years, but when it first sort of started gaining popularity, I wanted to try some. So I ordered some, and I don't know if I was the first guy in the UK to ever order some, but I got slapped with a big customs fee, which was almost as much as the package was, and I thought, oh, that sucks, man. Maybe it was a one-off, like an import tax. And then a client of mine wanted to use some, so I said, yeah, sure, get some on hand. You know, this is where you get it from. And they got the same fee, so I sent Sam a message. I mean, I didn't know Sam. I just said, dude, can I like order like 1,000 bottles off you? I will pay the customs fee myself out my own pocket. Don't worry about it. And then just let me know in the UK who wants it, because it's like no skin off my back. I just like clients or people that I talk to or anybody to be able to like get their hands on it, because I think it's a great product and it's relatively safe for the end goal, which kind of turns me on a bit because it's taking people away from the oil-based alternatives, which I think can be problematic. And yeah, I was just generally interested, and that's how it all got started. So yeah, I'm not trying to make any, not that I don't make any money off it. So yeah, anybody in the UK and EU that orders Metaform, it comes from me, and I post it out of the goodness of my heart because I'm such a good guy, you know. But yeah, that's how me and Sam got linked up. But yeah, such a lovely bloke, such a good guy. So yeah, is it Metaform.com? Anybody that wants to order Metaform, I think it's Metaform.com.
it's just Metaform. Yep, no, nothing else. Metaform.com. That's it.
Yeah, and Jasmine did the website for anybody. So
Who did the new site?
I don't know if they got a new one or anything. Jazz did like their logo and their website and stuff like that for them, for Sam.
I got it.
Because she used to do digital marketing before she was on Compact. Which, by the way, anyone listening again, Compact launches tomorrow, which will be Friday because you're listening to this on Thursday. So I know a few of you guys responded to the little post I was putting out on it. It's not yet been revealed exactly what the business is, but tune in on Friday because it's a big launch of Jasmine's new company that's been a long time in the making, and a lot of investment and a lot of work has gone into it, and it's going to be revolutionary for the physique competitive industry, if you could say that. So yes, guys.
Like, I hope everything goes well and smooth, and I'll hear about it in the updates. I've heard about it every week. The ever evolving stress response.
It's all I hear about, man. But it's crazy because Jazz, she gets up at 6 in the morning these days, and she'll work on this thing. I'm talking tirelessly, and it's like a beautiful thing to see. I love that I'm with somebody like that because, like we were talking about with the mentoring groups, like it really fans my flames to work. I love that my partner is such a hard worker, and I love that we barely see each other because we're both working 24 hours a day. It's like, to me, that's really exciting. I love that. So it's been awesome because for the longest time she was very like just kind of depressed and didn't really feel like she had any, I don't want to say depressed, not like clinically, but she didn't really feel like she had any direction and couldn't find what she wanted to do. And now that she's found this, it's a complete 180, and it's awesome. And that's what you need to do, guys. Find something that you truly love, and you'll never work another day in your life. Now, before I get too philosophical, yeah, I think we're done here. So, what are you up to for the rest of the day, man?
I have to make a quick run to pick up some food items, and then I have to work on a little bit of programming still, and I have one cardio session left. So I still have some shit to do.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just off to bed. And when I wake up, I'm going to weigh myself. And if it's not under my last low, then you're going to be getting hit with an email, man, saying, give me some new shit.
That's fine. You like my GIF?
I did, yeah. You see, I just put the mate. Fucking classic. It's a good way. It's a good way of commenting on there without being too obvious. You know, I like it.
Oh shit! I posted 3.
Just keep them coming, man. That's what you're known for. You're known in OPD for the GIFs.
I just drop the GIF and I leave.
Boom.
That's it.
It's like a bomb.
That's what I do. I drop the GIF and I leave. But okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to this bullshit episode. I hope you had fun anyway. I did. And next week's guests are Richard Foster from Strom. We have Eugene Teo coming on. And then the week after that is Dr. Scott Stevenson. So it's packed. So, yeah, guys, if you want to contact me and Austin about absolutely anything, all the contact links are below. Email, Facebook, all of that good stuff. Please drop your feedback and a like if you're on YouTube, or a review if you're on iTunes, a podcast, or anything like that. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and I'll see you next week.
See you guys.